Minister Keir Starmer and Nigel Farage, the Reform UK leader. The showdown comes after 18-year-old Henry Nowak was fatally stabbed by Vikram Digwa using a Sikh kirpan or a dagger in Southampton in December last year. We get you more on this. And here in India, in a big blow to Mamata Banerjee, her party, the All India Trinamool Congress, has split. This as the internal rift widens nearly a month after its major defeat in the West Bengal elections. First, let's shift our focus to the United Kingdom, where a massive political war has broken out after 18-year-old Henry Nowak was fatally stabbed by Vikram Digwa using a Sikh kirpan or a dagger in Southampton in December last year. Vikram had claimed that he was a victim of a racist attack by Nowak. Now, Reform UK chief Nigel Farage has called for people to respond with, quote, pure cold rage and said that the incident is anti-white prejudice. Responding to Farage's statement, Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemned the Reform UK leader, saying that Nowak's family had explicitly asked that the case not be used to target particular communities. In a television interview, Starmer said, and I quote him, Nigel Farage is completely wrong to use this to try and create division. He would be wrong in any circumstances, but when Henry's family are saying, please don't do that, then as politicians, as human beings, we should start where they start. Nigel Farage made what he called an emergency address, where he warned that an excessive focus on racial equality could lead to the destruction of society. Here's what he said. Enough of anti-white prejudice, a promotion of the idea that white lives matter just as much as black lives. On Tuesday evening, hundreds of people gathered outside Southampton police station after far-right activist Tommy Robinson called on the people to gather for a Justice for Henry Nowak protest. Some even chanted, racist police off our streets and shame on you. 11 police officers are reportedly injured after a clash broke out between security teams and the protesters. 2 people have been arrested. Politicians and community leaders have called for calm. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has called the attacks on police officers disgraceful and unacceptable and said that it is time for serious work, not rage. Now remember, under UK's law, a person can possess a kirpan or a dagger for religious, ceremonial, sporting or historical reasons. But like any bladed article, a kirpan can become an offensive weapon if it is used unlawfully. The government states that it is up to a court to decide if a person has a good reason to carry a knife or a weapon. In Vikram Digwa's case, the court had accepted his reasoning. But leaders of the Sikh community in the UK who have condemned this incident clarified that that blade used by Vikram Digwa was not a kirpan. All right, shifting our focus now, California's primary round of election to choose the next governor has concluded now. As the vote counting continues, voters have made their choices in contests that could shape the state's political direction in the months ahead. The election unfolded amid widespread voter indifference, with many Californians expressing little enthusiasm for what was widely viewed as a lackluster field of candidates seeking to succeed Governor Gavin Newsom, who, remember, is barred from contesting again because of term limits. As ballots continue to be counted, early returns indicate a close 3-way contest. Republican Steve Hilton holds a slim lead, followed by Democrat Xavier Becerra, while billionaire businessman Tom Steyer remains within striking distance. 3 candidates offer sharply different visions for the state. Becerra, who's a former Biden administration official and veteran legislator, is bidding to become California's first Latino governor. Steyer is campaigning as a progressive Democrat, while Hilton, who's a British-born former Fox News host backed by President Trump, is seeking to deliver Republicans a rare statewide victory.
He started as an outsider, but he tirelessly going up and down the state, going every county and almost every city, talking to people sharing his plans, answering questions, listening to people's concerns, and that's how he earned the votes from real people, from real people.
Now, unlike many other states, California does not hold separate party primaries for most statewide offices. Instead, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and minor party candidates all appear on a single ballot. Voters choose one candidate and only the two highest vote getters advance to the November general election, regardless of party affiliation. That system has turned the governor's contest into a closely watched test of whether November will feature a Democrat-on-Democrat showdown or a more traditional Democrat-Republican clash. Beyond the governor's race, voters are also deciding the future of California's 52 House seats. The state's new congressional map is expected to favor Democrats, with only 4 districts considered reliably Republican and 4 others viewed as competitive. Attention is also focused on Los Angeles, where voters are choosing from a large field of candidates in the mayoral race. Incumbent Mayor Karen Bass is trying to maintain a narrow advantage over former reality television personality Spencer Pratt and progressive city council member Nithya Raman.
We're going to build a city where parents and kids do not have to navigate tents, because in the nation's second largest city, there should never be anybody that is sleeping on our streets. We are a city that can deal with this, and we have been doing it, and we are going to continue.
Primary elections are being held in Montana as well, in New Mexico and South Dakota, with the outcomes expected to offer an insight into the political mood ahead of the November midterm elections.
You have to come back. Yes, absolutely. We'll invite you back for Tuesday.
Missing Republican Tom Keene Jr., who has not been seen in public for nearly 3 months now, has won the New Jersey primary. The absent incumbent will now face well-funded Democratic primary winner Rebecca Bennett in one of the most competitive races nationwide in November. Tom Keene Jr. secured the Republican nomination despite being totally absent from the capital since the 5th of March. President Donald Trump endorsed him on Monday and claimed that he was working tirelessly. Keene last voted in Washington on the 5th of March, while his aides attribute the lengthy absence to an unspecified personal medical issue. The congressman also recently stated in a phone interview that he expects a full recovery soon. However, as per reports, public records and requests showed no emergency 911 calls from his residence. In fact, numerous campaign donors revealed that they had no information about his current condition. Reports suggest that visits to his primary home in Westfield extended no answers from neighbors or an unresponsive front door. Reporters found untouched flyers at his Jersey Shore vacation property. An estate search on Fisher's Island proved that he had not been spotted there either. Even regional county Republican leaders and his lawyer remain completely in the dark. Keene comes from a famous political dynasty, remember, featuring a senator, a congressman, and a former governor. Independent analysts consider the upcoming November House contest a complete toss-up. Rebecca Bennett's win sets up a tough re-election fight for the two-term incumbent. The suburban swing district, remember, is crucial for Republicans to keep control of the House. Right, moving on, U.S. President Donald Trump has thrown his weight behind Colombia's hard-right presidential candidate Abelardo de la Espriella ahead of the country's runoff election later this month. Now, posting on his Truth Social platform, Trump praised de la Espriella's achievements and political support for him, offering what he described as his complete and total endorsement. Following Donald Trump's endorsement, de la Espriella pledged closer relations with Washington if elected.
Very grateful to President Donald Trump. With his entire administration, we share values and principles in defense of democracy, freedom, and institutional integrity. and we are going to form a partnership with the government of the United States and with President Donald Trump like Colombia has never had before with any other U.S. administration.
A millionaire lawyer known for his tough on-crime stance, Dalla Espriella emerged as the surprise frontrunner in the first round of Colombia's presidential election. He won more than 43% of the votes, defeating leftist Senator Iván Cepeda, who secured 41% of the votes. The outgoing Colombian president, Gustavo Petro, reacted sharply to Trump's endorsement. Petro warned against foreign interference in national politics, saying that freedom suffers when one country intervenes in another's democratic decisions. The comments highlight tense relationship between Petro and Trump, who previously had clashed over migration policies and anti-drug operations. Meanwhile, the controversy continues to follow Dalla Espriella's campaign. A Bogota judge has now ordered him to apologize over comments deemed sexist during a radio interview. The ruling followed complaints that Dalla Espriella displayed an intimate photograph to a female reporter while making remarks interpreted as sexual innuendo. The father of four, an outspoken conservative, has also faced criticism over comments critics describe as homophobic and sexist. Despite the controversies, opinion polls and recent endorsements have positioned him as a leading contender to become Colombia's next president.
In the era of the tiger, we are going to chart a new course for this country because the days of business as usual are over. We are going to put an end to them. The era of false peace is over. The era of Petro and his heir Iván Cepeda is over.
Shifting our focus now, in a big blow to Mamata Banerjee, her party, the All India Trinamool Congress, is eyeing a split now. This, remember, as internal rift widens nearly a month after the party's massive defeat in the West Bengal Assembly elections. The party has now dissolved all of its committees and frontal organizations in the state. In a social media post, the TMC declared that it will undertake a comprehensive exercise of introspection, performance review and organizational assessment at every level. It said that the units within the party will be reconstituted based on the findings. Meanwhile, expelled Trinamool Congress MLA and rebel leader Ritabrata Banerjee has been elected as the new leader of opposition in the state with the support of 58 other rebel MLAs. However, he has urged Mamata Banerjee to serve as the party's chief advisor.
Two-thirds strong legislative team of the Trinamool Congress inside the 18th West Bengal Legislative Assembly. This legislature party doesn't believe in I, it believes in we. Whatever norms are framed out, we have followed every norms, and that's why we have been accepted as the principal opposition in this 18th West Bengal Legislative Assembly.
Earlier, the expelled Banerjee met with West Bengal Assembly Speaker Ratindra Bose and submitted support letters signed by nearly 60 MLAs, including senior legislators. Nearly 60 of the party's 80 MLAs arrived at the West Bengal Assembly for a meeting backing the rebel camp. In a stark show of defiance, none of the MLAs attending this meeting turned up for Mamata Banerjee's protest in central Kolkata just a day ago. The crisis deepened after rebel MLAs alleged that signatures on a communication sent to the Assembly Secretariat had been forged. The row quickly escalated, prompting the TMC to expel MLAs Ritabrata Banerjee and Sandeepan Saha from the party. Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee President D.K. Shivakumar has now been sworn in as the new Chief Minister of the state. D.K. Shivakumar has been sworn in along with 13 ministers at Bengaluru's Lok Bhavan. This completes the leadership transition that began last week. Hours before the swearing-in ceremony, the Congress released a list of those who will hold key cabinet positions. According to a communique shared by the media team of Siddaramaiah, senior leader G. Parmeshwara will be holding the post of the Deputy Chief Minister. Among those who've been sworn in as ministers in the new cabinet is the outgoing Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's son, Yatindra. Siddaramaiah, meanwhile, himself has been assigned a key role in the party as he was named a member of the Congress Working Committee by Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress chief, with immediate effect. The cabinet is expected to expand after the Rajya Sabha elections. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, the chief, Mallikarjun Kharge, along with chief ministers from Kerala, Telangana and Himachal Pradesh attended the swearing-in ceremony today. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated D.K. Shivakumar on his new role. He is assured that the centre will work closely with the Karnataka government for the welfare of the people. Ahead of taking oath as the Karnataka Chief Minister, D.K. Shivakumar took his mother's blessings. Remember, this major political shift in Karnataka comes after a prolonged power tussle in the state. When the Congress had won back in May 2023 in Karnataka, it brokered a power-sharing deal under which Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar were to split the 5-year tenure to serve as chief ministers of the state. And WION's principal correspondent Siddharth MP has sent us this report with more details. Take a look.
A new era has begun in Karnataka politics with D.K. Shivakumar, an 8-time legislator and the state Congress president, being sworn in as chief minister. D.K. Shivakumar has been sworn in with 13 cabinet ministers. Of course, let's remember that a cabinet expansion is due because Karnataka's sanctioned cabinet strength is 34 ministers, including the chief minister. As for the present cabinet, it includes a mix of young faces and a lot of veterans as well. Let's remember the fact that outgoing chief minister or former chief minister Siddaramaiah's son Yatindra is featured in this cabinet, which is a young face. Let's also remember that D.K. Shivakumar as chief minister is taking over at a critical time because there are two years to go for the Karnataka elections in 2028, and Karnataka has a trend of voting out incumbent government. So his 2 years of governance as chief minister will prove extremely crucial for the Congress party in the state. From Chennai, Siddharth MP, WION World is One.
All right, moving on to other updates now. South Koreans have cast their vote in a crucial set of local elections. This is, remember, the first nationwide test of public mood since President Lee Jae-myung's snap election victory last year. Now, with the polling closed, early exit polls point to a strong performance by the ruling Democratic Party. Voters have chosen leaders for 16 cities and provinces in the election. According to exit polls released by South Korea's 3 major broadcasters, the Democratic Party is ahead in 11 of the 16 major races. The People Power Party is leading in just 1 contest, while 4 remain too close to call at the moment.
I believe that through this vote, issues such as housing prices and taxes will be resolved in a better direction for my parents, rather than for me. I think that these problems need to be addressed starting now so that future generations can benefit as well. So I hope for results that bring about gradual changes, even if not drastic ones.
The Democratic Party is projected to secure Seoul, which is the nation's capital and the most coveted political prize. It's also leading in Gyeonggi province and Incheon, strengthening its position across the greater Seoul region.
It is best to elect a good person to develop the region, I suppose. That is what the locals want. I don't know which candidate will be elected and actually do that, but anyway, since I put my stamp on the ballots carefully, I hope they would be elected and work well.
However, the battle for Busan, South Korea's second largest city, remains on a knife's edge. Exit polls show a tight race between the Democratic Party and the People Power Party candidates, making the final outcome uncertain. The Democratic Party already controls both the presidency and the National Assembly. Official results are expected to begin emerging overnight, with final outcomes likely to be confirmed early Thursday. The world's economic map is being redrawn. Goldman Sachs has released a sweeping forecast now, and it tells you exactly who will be on top in 2050 and 2075. The projections are striking, and they matter for every investor and every government that is planning for the future. By 2050, Goldman Sachs projects the 5 largest economies will be China, United States, India, Indonesia, and Germany. Now, that is a significant shift, remember. Indonesia displaces both Brazil and Russia. Now, Asia's rise is no longer a prediction, it is becoming a projection backed by data. And here's the headline number. Goldman Sachs estimates that China will overtake the United States as the world's largest economy around 2035. That is just 9 years from now. China's economic trajectory, despite the recent slowdowns, remains powerful over the long term. Fast forward to 2075, and the top three economies would be China, India, and the United States in that order. India just edges out the US for second place. But here's the twist. By 2075, the US is expected to grow faster than China. And why is that? Well, the answer is simple: demographic dividend. United States has a younger, more favorable population outlook. China's aging population becomes a drag on potential growth. Goldman Sachs also projects that 7 of the world's top 10 economies in 2075 will be today's emerging markets. That is, provided they adopt the right policies and build strong institutions. After more than a month of protest demanding the Bolivian President Rodrigo Paz's ouster, the country's defense minister has now stepped down. Bolivia, remember, is currently facing its worst economic crisis in 4 decades. Workers, farmers, miners and teachers are all demanding measures to address the crisis. Marcelo Salinas has been replaced by Ernesto Justiniano to the post of the defense minister. He's a junior minister who acts as the country's anti-drug star. Now, Paz, who was backed by the US President Donald Trump, has warned that Bolivia is at a breaking point. The government has refused to rule out declaring a state of emergency or deploying the military to control the demonstrations. According to official data, about 100 road blockades have been reported nationwide, which is nearly double the number 2 weeks ago. The roadblocks have triggered shortages of food, medicine and fuel in La Paz, the neighboring El Alto and other cities, and driven up prices of basic goods. The government has accused protesters of attempting to alter the democratic order and accused former President Evo Morales of driving these protests. Morales is in hiding while facing charges of trafficking a teenage girl with whom he allegedly fathered a child. He told media agency AFP recently that Bolivians are furious because Paz oversees a government that is utterly submissive to Washington. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Race to Power. Thank you very much for joining us at the moment. News and updates will continue on WION. Bye-bye.
Get the latest updates.
Destroy their
Breaking
missiles
news.
and raise their...
Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is one.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
In West Asia, every move shifts the world's balance. Wars, ceasefires, alliances, power never stands still. From Tehran to Tel Aviv, from Damascus to Doha, the West Asia Post cuts through the chaos to reveal the region that shapes the world. Because what happens in West Asia never stays in West Asia. This is the West Asia Post, the region's story, the world's impact.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
In West Asia, every move shifts the world's balance. Wars, ceasefires, alliances, power never stands still. From Tehran to Tel Aviv, from Damascus to Doha, the West Asia Post cuts through the chaos to reveal the region that shapes the world. Because what happens in West Asia never stays in West Asia. This is the West Asia Post, the region's story, the world's impact.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.